found themselves after their trips without the desire for junk. And they were all shocked, like, oh my God, this is because they were like waiting for the other shoe to drop, but then they actually felt like, wow, I am not hooked, So there was something immediately engaging about it. On the other hand, it was also very psychologically challenging to begin with. And it took one into a very deep inner world. Maybe you were going to face some of the shadows that has been part of your addictive process.
This really sort of crosses over into the shamanic use of these things. I mean, the shaman is a person who learns through discipline to navigate in these realms. And this is the realm of, he learns to pass through both ways, through the doors that the dead pass daily. I think that high doses of psychedelics or something like DMT is very close, probably. I mean, I've never had a near-death experience. I hope never to have one until I'm actually dying, But people who have had them say that they're very similar to high doses of DMT. And there's even reason to think that the DMT, which our own bodies make, may be involved in the near-death experience, that, in the state of stress on the mind and body that is produced when you're dying, it's not inconceivable that your brain releases a massive flood of DMT and you have this experience.
But all this still is mostly within the realm of speculation. We still don't really know enough about the normal concentrations of DMT in the body and what situations increase it and in what sorts of conditions the levels are decreased.
Where is DMT found in nature? Well, a better question would be where is it not found in nature? I mean, this is really interesting to me. The fact that DMT is so ubiquitous in nature, and it is from the chemical standpoint, structurally, it's the simplest of the psychedelics. It's a very, very simple compound. And in terms of biochemistry, it's only 2 steps away from tryptophan. Tryptophan is an amino acid. It's one of the essential amino acids. So it is universal. All living things have tryptophan. Now, not all living things have DMT, probably, but the enzymes that convert tryptophan to DMT, there are 2 main enzymes in this process, are also universal. I mean, I don't know how chemical we want to get here, but the basic idea is there's an enzyme that takes off the acid group of the amino acid, so it turns it from an amino acid into an amine. And then there's another enzyme that puts methyl groups onto the amine. So you get tryptophan, and then you get tryptamine, and then you get dimethyltryptamine, which is what DMT is. And this goes on, I think, very commonly. Well, these enzymes are certainly common. I mean, they're common in all cells, practically. Do all organisms contain DMT? I think it's possible that all organisms might contain traces of DMT. There are many plants that contain DMT. We know of at least a couple hundred, and that's only because we've looked. There are probably thousands of plants. In fact, my suspicion is that because tryptophan is so easily converted to DMT, I think if you went out with a sufficiently sensitive instrument, mass spectrometer or whatever, and just started sampling plants at random and shoving those through your gas chromatograph or whatever you're using, you would find traces of DMT in every plant. And you would also find it, we know it's very widespread in animals too. So we know it's in amphibians, we know it's in mammals, including us. We know it's in marine organisms, we know it's in fish. So it's odd that, well, maybe it's not odd. It's just a fact of nature that it's all over the place. And probably is about as close to being universal as anything is.
It's also related to serotonin. Serotonin is a neurotransmitter which occurs in all life and is most concentrated in the higher primates and most concentrated there in man. It is 5-hydroxytryptamine. While DMT is, as you mentioned, N,N-dimethyltryptamine. So there is a very close structural affinity between this extremely potent and exotic hallucinogen and the very common basis for ordinary consciousness, serotonin.
DMT and 5-methoxy-DMT and even beta-carbolines, which are the other component of the ayahuasca combination, do occur in the human brain, and they occur in other places in the human body, in the adrenal glands, for instance, probably in the gut, but they definitely occur in the human brain, especially in the pineal gland.
There are other forms of DMT other than the smokable kind. In fact, those other forms are the more traditionally used forms of DMT, such as ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca is remarkable because, as you probably know, it's combined from these two distinct plant species.
Its two principal ingredients are themselves inactive except in the presence of each other. So what we have in the case of ayahuasca is an example of a highly evolved folk pharmacology. And how a discovery like this was ever made in the first place is one of the challenging questions that anthropologists have to deal with. After all, in a square mile of Amazonian rainforest, it is not unusual to encounter 50,000 distinct species of plants. How then did these so-called primitive or pre-literate people make the connection between the combining of the bark of one with the leaves of another, boiled and put through a number of procedures